Good morning. We are in County Clare, Ireland. In our last video, we took you on a tour of some of the beautiful cliffs of the west coast of Ireland. And in this video, we'll be picking up right where we left off. We are driving the Wild Atlantic Way, which is a scenic highway mapped out by the country to just take you all along this beautiful western coast. We are starting just north of the Cliffs of Moher, and there is a castle here, the Dunguaire Castle. I believe it is a 16th century castle. It has sweeping views of the coastline. Unfortunately, it sits on private property and it is not accessible. This whole area is just stunning. So he's showing you the castle, but you're seeing the small little seaside villages, the beautiful Atlantic Ocean, and these rolling farmlands. So this is where we start today's video. It is the town of Dunguaire in the County Clare of Ireland, and we are northbound to see what in the world we can get into. Our destination is the small seaside city of Galway. Let's go. So we're driving north along the coast. We're out in an area that seems to be a protected forest area. And when you get to the coast here, the rock formations turn really, really weird, for lack of a better word. Out there, it's like they're all giant flat rocks and they're cracked. And then on my side, you got kind of like a moon landscape going on. Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything changed. I don't think so. Far yet. We gotta turn around.
Your destination is on the left.
This hotel right here behind me, I think it's the Highlands Buren. It's a little boutique hotel in the town of Buren, just across the harbor or bay, whatever you want to call it, of Galway. And what's special about this little place is if you follow our journey, you may remember that my dad's wife Karen and my sister-in-law Molly were supposed to come over to Ireland for a visit. But my dad's going through some health struggles back home, so they had to cancel the trip. That hotel is one of the places we would have stayed. It had really good parking right behind the hotel for the van. So, pulls on my heartstrings a little bit that we're driving right past it and they're not here. But we're able to get some gas or some diesel here in this little town. Look at that pretty church right there behind this gas station. And then we'll get on the road, headed to Galway. So we were driving along, we're almost to Galway, and we see this castle just appear on the side of the road, and then there was this place we could pull over and parallel park, really easy. So we pulled in with the intention of giving Kurt just a little mental break from driving. But then there's this big sign in front of us, and we're right by this castle that apparently you can take a look at. It's called the Dunguaire Castle.
So this castle sits up in this bay, and you can see the tide's out right now and there's full of grass, but there's swans swimming around down there, and those are beautiful. Some seagulls and some herons as well. But the castle's in pretty good shape, and well, you can actually just walk around the whole thing. And you can kind of see how it's out here in a very defensible position. But anyway, we're just gonna circle around it real quick and get back on the road and keep heading north.
So I did a little bit of Googling to find out that this thing was built in the 1500s for a very powerful clan the O'Flaherty's or something like that. And it was built mainly as just defense. So if people were coming to attack, you retreated to this castle and it was the stronghold. It's built with like this tower structure, and apparently at that time when they built these towers, it was mainly just for protection from attack. It overlooks the Galway Bay. It has sweeping views of the area, and it's been maintained and upheld so you can still go in it and tour it today. A lot of the furnishings inside are from the 1600s and 1700s. We're not going to take you inside, but it's also known for having beautiful grounds around the outside. So a nice little stop off to take a look at this castle. That's where we're at right now. Curt's mental break is almost over. He'll get back in the driver's seat, and I would say we are about 30 minutes from Galway. And it's good that he rested, because once we get there, we have to try to find somewhere to park. And that's always hard when you get to any kind of a sized city, especially if it's a tourist city. But we're going to try.
So it's up around over here.
Yeah, we're going to go. So, it's probably on the other side of this block.
Yeah. All right, we're in the little harbor town of Galway. And well, parking really can be a challenge. We got lucky and pulled right into a spot. That rarely happens, especially as big as our van is. The problem is it's pay parking, pay and display. And so I walked up here to this machine and it's broken, so it sent me to another machine. I got up to the other machine only to find out they only take coins, which I didn't have any coins. So then I had to go back, find the store, get some coins. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the way back to the coin machine. I think we're good. We're gonna be good here. Now we're gonna go explore this little town of Galway.
Curt is the parking meter guru, along with finding excellent parking guru. We've been super lucky in cities here in Ireland. I don't know if he told you, but we think we can actually spend the night here. But look how close we are to everything. It's right here, which is perfect. The first order of business is to try to find somewhere to eat lunch. So this must be the Spanish Arch, Curt. Oh, look. 7,157 kilometers to Seattle. We are literally parked on one of the hot spots, tourist spots here in the city of Galway. I'm going to read you a little poem type thing written by the priest Ken Bruin. The Long Walk. The Long Walk is among my favorite routes. You pass under the Spanish Arch and then along by the water. The Cattle right across Nemo's Pier marks the point. Before you lies Galway Bay. You can almost see the Aran Islands. If I ever get lucky or seriously rich, that's where I'm headed, as a base if nothing else. The sound of seagulls, the smell of the ocean, you gulp deep breaths and want to mouth a rosary of gratitude. It should be mandatory for artists to live here, an oasis of the soul. And if it's a bright day, sweet Jesus, you are elected from Priest Ken Buren. Well, he clearly likes this place, guys.
Excuse me.
Come on with us. Come on with us.
All right, we'll come with you.
They all know the story about the van. The van life. The van life. Hey guys. We lived probably 3 miles from each other before they took off.
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes left in the tour, but you're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you. You want to, yeah?
Yeah.
Anyways, fish and chips, right? So, the McDonald's fish and chip shop there. If you just want the best fish and chips in Galway, nice and casual, right? That's where you go. You get some.
We headed out to get lunch, walking in this little pedestrian bar restaurant area of Galway. And all of a sudden chaos ensued. So we quit filming and stuff was going on, and I need to get y'all caught up. We literally ran into a couple from Orlando that was in our friend circle, Lori and George. here in Ireland. They were on a walking tour. There was only 10 minutes left of that tour, so of course we hugged them and squealed and like, oh my gosh, what a small world that we ran into, you guys. We joined the last 10 minutes of that free city walking tour, and then we went to have lunch with them at a little restaurant right here in this touristy section with all the flags hanging over, and just caught up about stuff back home. So we've known those guys for a long time. They're travelers, so we were sharing stories. But one cool thing about them is their kid Jared married this girl named Samantha, and then later in life, once they got married, Jared joined in too. Samantha was our pet sitter in our previous life before we lived in a van. When we lived in a traditional house like most normal people, anytime we would go anywhere, she would come to the house and stay with our cats. So she was like a second mom to them. So she holds a special place. So it was kind of cool to get to have lunch with her in-laws and just catch up on things back home. So we had a nice lunch. We walked through the streets a little bit, but we are back. We're back to being able to vlog and getting over the chaos of running into friends in a completely different country. But one thing we learned is this river we're parked next to is supposedly the fastest flowing river in Europe, and also maybe the shortest river in Europe, something like that. And this area where we're parked, it's called the longest walk. And you go through this arch here that's called the Spanish Arch. I missed why it's called that, but it's the remaining parts of the ruins of the wall that used to cover this city. But as the Irish immigrants were leaving Ireland and headed to the United States during the potato famine, they would say goodbye to all their friends and family, walk under this arch, walk down this long road next to this river to the end, where they would get on a boat and they would head to the United States. So it was called the longest walk for actually a sad reason. It was the last time their feet were going to be on the ground in their home country. So that name has stuck. And even though it has a sad history behind it, now it brings in a lot of tourist traffic and good to the city of Galway. But I think we're going to call it a day here. We had the big morning at the Cliffs, a long drive for Curt, a nice yummy lunch with friends from home, which was crazy. So now we're going to go back to the van and just chill with the kiddies with our primo parking spot. But I think we can stay here till the morning. So we'll spend the night here by the river on the longest walk in Galway. We'll get up in the morning and we'll have to roll out before 8 because that's what our overnight parking meter will pay for. So let's head back to the van, guys.
Look at our house there, nestled in amongst all these other houses. We blend right in, don't we, guys? Nobody even knows we're there. That's what I call stealth.
So we've been in Ireland for like 3 weeks, and every time I remember that we need to put on the Ireland sticker, it's raining or we're driving down the road. Finally, parked here next to the river in Galway, we remembered, and it's a beautiful sunny day. So the Ireland sticker has been added to the back of the van, and we're good to go. Now as we're parked here next to the river getting ready for the sun to set, you can see that the locals are enjoying this nice weather as much as we are. Everybody comes out to sit on the seawall. Curt has taken Vanna out for a walkabout by the river. Hi Vanna. Is that too many people? Is that too many people? All right, the sun was starting to set. We were watching it with all the locals here from our campsite when we got a message from our Orlando friends that are staying here in Galway tonight in a hotel that they were headed out to an Irish bar for a couple of drinks. So we decided to go, which is so unlike us, guys, but it was cool to get to hang out with our friends from Orlando. We met some new friends from around the world that are in their tour group, had a glass of wine, just caught up and hung out a little bit. Got to walk down that same street we walked down today, but with the sun setting and the lights coming on and definitely a little bit livelier atmosphere. So that was a lot of fun to experience a little, although I'm sure it was a touristy one, an Irish bar. So that was cool. And then as we were coming back, we stepped inside this little store that has the coat of arms for all the family names that have any kind of Irish heritage. And you go in there and you can find your name, and my name was there, so I got to read the story about it. And it said most of us were of English origin and would have come to Ireland in like the 1500s or so, something like that. I'm going by what I remember when we were at the store. If you have Irish heritage, it was definitely cool to get to go in there. So that was kind of cool. It looks like some of my family may have skirted through here in the 1500s before coming to America and all that kind of stuff. So if you're here in Galway and you're curious about your Irish heritage, pop in that store because it was pretty cool. And then we made the trip back to the van, settled in with our kitties. It is way past our bedtime. I'm going to guess that it's like 8:30. So we're going to get ready to go to bed. And we will leave here bright and early in the morning. I promise. I know I said that earlier. It wasn't our fault we got drugged down to the bar street. It was not our fault. Oh, Curt has spotted a seal. Do you want the big camera? All right, I know I promised we were going to bed. But Curt started yelling that there was a seal right here in the river. So we've come out to watch, see if we can spot him again. I don't know if we'll get lucky, but we'll see. We sat out here another 10 minutes or so, hoping the seal would pop back up. He's a no-show. But Curt got to see him, and it's been a long time since we've seen any kind of wildlife like that, hasn't it, Curt?
It has, but they're here.
They're here. We'll look for them in the morning if it's high tide. We've heard they come in here, but only at high tide. See y'all in the morning. And we got up this morning. First thing we did is jump out and see if it was high tide and if we could see any of the seals. And we got a very quick little glimpse of one. I think Curt got the camera on it. And we saw him a little bit I got to see him a little bit literally from the bedroom window. But then we had to get the van ready to roll early this morning because at 8 o'clock, our overnight parking fee expired and we would have had to put more money in the meter, and we didn't want to do that. So we rolled out of the city early this morning, got to see some bits and pieces of it we not saw walking around yesterday, so that was nice. And we went maybe 15 minutes outside of town, pulled over into a parking lot of a pub on the side of the road, made breakfast, walked the kiddies, just kind of started our day. And now we are back on the road after that. We're about to go through a city called Tuam, T-U-A-M. We've left Galway. We're driving almost straight north. We're bypassing this section of the coast and heading up to like the next little place where it jets out. And I think that place we're headed to is called Strand Hill. Now we'll have to see if we make it there today or not, what we encounter on the road along the way. But this will be one of the first times we've taken y'all on a ride through inland Ireland. We've done it a little bit, but we've been hugging those coasts lately. Today's going to be more about inland Ireland as we head back to another beach. So let's go, guys.
All right, there's a logging truck right there. And Snow's nephew says, if we want to know how big the trees are, you got to count the logs.
That looks like maybe 9 or 10 fit on there. And then he's talking about the diameter. That's how you know how big the trees are. So like if you came up on a logging truck that only had 3 logs on there, those would be really giant trees. And then sometimes the little ones may have like 20 squeezed in there. So those were probably medium-sized trees.
So we've been in Ireland now going on close to 4 weeks. And, you know, we settled down in Dublin for the better part of a week of that. But we have driven around this country on all these crazy roads. Now, Snow has a really wide road day today driving.
Yep.
But what I'll say is these Ireland roads vary greatly from single track roads. Single track meaning, well, there's only one lane, and so if you meet oncoming traffic, you kind of need to scoot over, find a place to scoot over, stop. And for that reason, we think it invites a very courteous culture, because on the roads, you gotta work together, you gotta give way, and it really typifies kind of how we feel about the Irish people. So kind, so nice, so quick to wave, so quick to help, all that type of stuff. But then the roads get a little bit wider and you get the 2-lane roads. Now some of these roads, to be honest with you, it's like the van just kind of doesn't fit. It's kind of like our mirrors are hanging over both lines if you're driving perfectly through it. And those roads can be a little scary too, because, well, there's mulberry bushes and other bushes and shrubs in places along the roads, so your mirrors are just kind of skirting those, and sometimes when you're coming around the corner you just don't have the best visibility. And of course we're sitting on the left side that can even compound that. But driving in Ireland has been like insane. Now, what's that?
An adventure.
It has been an adventure. Unfortunately, you have some beautiful scenery, but man, sometimes it's just tough to take a look, tough to take your eye off the yellow dotted line that you're hugging. But then they also have some nice wide roads. And what's funny is what we call a wide road has definitely adjusted, meaning that now that if we have room for our van to move 6 inches both ways, we consider that a wide road. But they also have some nice highways and stuff like that. But driving's been an adventure. We just came through a construction zone, and to be honest with you, Snow is commenting that, you know, the construction methods, the signage, all that type of stuff is a lot like what we would have in the US, and so something we're very familiar with. So really, driving on the left side of the road is definitely an adventure, but also just the roads in general. And you guys know we come from a highway building background, so that stuff is always fascinating to us. So there's my 2 cents on the Irish roads.
After a 2-hour, somewhat stressful drive in parts because of the notorious skinny roads, we have made it to our next spot, which is sitting on a beautiful beach right out there in front of us. You can see that sign in front of us. We're on private property where you have to pay $15 a night to stay overnight. So we'll be looking for the guy to pay him. Looks like G's getting suited up. Vanna is watching the world go by. Curt has dinner or lunch going. And this, as we watch a few surfers start to run out into the waves, is where we are going to wind this video down. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys, and make sure you hit that notification bell if you haven't, so you know when we put out new videos. And if you enjoyed this video, if you hit that like button, it helps us a lot. And with that, we will see you guys in a few days. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!